Okay, I think it works. Great. It's gonna record my waist. Okay, so this was an abstract I found posted to archive on Friday. It's there it is. It's a study on how frequently a solar eclipse will happen at any given spot on the Earth, which is like, I feel like it's kind of like a boring thing to tackle, but basically there was another paper posted to I believe it was the British Astronomical Association for the same question, and I feel like this was just interesting because it kind of follows the themes that we've been seeing in our class, where modern astronomical research uses like more thorough sampling and stronger computation. And in this one, they also did partial eclipses in addition to total and annular. I didn't really make a slide, but like the reasons why I found it interesting were, the eclipse like 2 years ago was cool, and I feel like everyone experienced it and was like, oh, like when's the next one? And then you put in Virginia, and I think the next annular eclipse is 2040, right? And then the next total is 2090. I think I forgot. But there was that. Yeah, you go and like NASA has a website and you can put in coordinates and all that, and then it gives you like the next eclipse for that location. I actually used that database for Professor Chevalier's course. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Yeah. So it was my final paper. Apparently, there's like people on the internet who say like there's like a verse in several Gospels in the New Testament that like say that like Jesus dying on the cross was like such a sad event that like the entire sky got dark for several hours, and some people are like, oh, like that, like we can use science to explain like a supernatural event, like it had to have been an eclipse or something. But as we know, total eclipses last for like only a couple minutes, so not an entire afternoon. And if you go into that database, there is no total eclipse over like the Roman province of Palestine around the time that Jesus would have been around like 27 when he died. So if it was an eclipse, I feel like that's more proof that something supernatural happened. But I don't think Roger liked it because I got a B on that class trying to use science to prove religion. But yeah. Anyway, so this is the old paper from the 80s, and then that was the one that I just read. The first like sentence in their like little related work section was pointing out that the 80s was 4 decades ago and not 2, so somehow that makes me feel old. But so the old sampling method is like he uses like points on the Earth, where like if you like have, I'm drawing over Steve's notes, but if you have like all these like lines of latitude and longitude, basically he like draws intersections, and then I think does his own 3-body simulation, and for every like eclipse event, he like basically checks if it covers one of those points, and then does statistics based on that. According to that paper, he did it on his laptop. I didn't even know laptops were a thing in the 80s. But so the new paper does something. It's sort of like like going when you integrate functions. Like if you think of this as like a sigma, that's like an integral sign, right? So they like define they define a latitude band like that, and then they'll I guess if you do like 2 contiguous bands, it looks something like that. And then they went into the same database that I used to prove the crucifixion darkness, and they'll like cast a shadow on the Earth like that, multiple shadows, because there's going to be the total and annular and partial eclipses, and then they basically like sum up the area in each band, and then divide that by the total area of the band, and then they do like a weighted average to get like a function of the probability of an eclipse within like any time span, regardless of where you are on the Earth. And then also, we have obviously that like increased area increases our sample size, and then also the increased time span. So they did that on a cluster of servers, which took them like 3 months to do. And then what they found was that their results are pretty consistent with the previous one. Their error bars overlap, and then their error bars are smaller by the other two. Yeah. And then also they got a value for partial eclipses. Very nice. And then they also see a similar latitude effect as in the previous paper, where total eclipses are, okay, I made a typo there, but total eclipses are more frequent or likely in the northern hemisphere, and annular eclipses are less likely in the southern, and are more likely in the southern, and then, like contrapositive, inverse, something, I don't really know the logical word there, but basically it's just because the Earth's closer to the sun in the winter, so you're yeah. I don't know if you guys can like visualize the geometry there. I would try to draw it out, but I feel like I might mess up on the spot. But yeah, that was it. If anyone has any questions.
Okay, well, this is a whole lot of topics that I've.
So the paper in 1982, is more accurate than the new one?
No, the new one is more accurate than the old one.
Okay.
Right,
You would expect, or you would hope.
So, but the only difference here is the resolution, essentially, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah, their sampling
so
size
should
is
give
more.
better
Yep.
errors, but like it's not like there's any physics or.
Yeah, it's purely just like their
It's
sampling
just
method. Yeah, and then how much computational power they put into it.
Yeah.
I guess the new one is the partial eclipse thing, because the
That's
previous
also
paper didn't have it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Actually, I forgot to mention, so they used the NASA database, and the other guy didn't. He did his own simulation. So because they used the NASA database, that's how they could do partial eclipses, because the other guy didn't account for the atmosphere, so he didn't account for atmospheric lensing. Actually, that doesn't really have anything to do with partial eclipses, but
Yeah, what?
it does. Like that does. His results would be slightly different because of refraction.
Oh, okay, refraction. But I guess, do you know what goes into the NASA database?
I believe it's. I don't know if it's a 3-body simulation. I've only really used the data, but I believe it does take the
It must
atmosphere
be
into
the same,
account.
right? Like, it must be the same as this paper.
Right. I might have to look deeper into that.
Yeah. I think it would be useful to figure out what they did in the NASA database. But my guess is that what you're saying is correct.
Mhm.
There's a 3-body simulation,
Yeah.
but it's probably high resolution. And, fascinating. Any thoughts on how you might extend this, or is this a one-off? Because it seems like. Anyway, what do you think?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, when I was reading it, my first thought was like, how long of a time scale can you operate on, because the moon is drifting away. So, I mean, I didn't really do the math on my own. I'm not sure how long that would give like a valid time span.
You mean like the longevity of the 3-body system?
Yeah, exactly. Because at some point we won't be having total eclipses, but I also think like humanity might go extinct by the time that happens.
Right. Yeah.
And then I don't know. Maybe some like I don't know. I would assume that any kind of follow up would just be like increasing the resolution even more.
Right.
Yeah.
What about some analogy to like a solar system question, right? Or exoplanets, or
I don't understand what you mean by
I
that.
guess maybe if you just take some of the techniques, but you're looking at other types of three-body systems. Just an idea.
I guess, yeah, but isn't like the three body system, like with the Earth and the Moon, like isn't that kind of rare for a near star system?
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't really thought about this like applied to other
we don't know
systems,
anything
but
about exomoons.
okay. Yeah, no, I haven't really thought about that.